Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg. Give it up for Agunda Okeyo. Give it up.
Thank you.
Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. Agunda Okeyo.
Now, this is our first time meeting.
Yes.
You're very amazing, smiling, radiant, beautiful, funny, all that person. You have an event going on, Sisters of Comedy.
Word.
I've never heard of this, and I'm glad I'm now hearing about it. What is this? What is?
Yeah, I know. So word up. So Sisters of Comedy is actually it's the only all like black women centered comedy show at any of the top clubs in New York City.
Wow.
I started at Gotham Comedy Club almost 3 years ago, and then a year ago I moved over to Caroline's. So I've been doing it for a year at Caroline's now.
And you are just the producer of the show, or you are also a comedian yourself?
Well, I do some stand-up, but I do everything. So I created the show, I booked the show, I run the show.
Wow.
Basically, it's like people told me, you know what? I don't think an all-black women comedy show can work in New York City. And
that was
like,
actually, somebody said that to you.
And I was like, watch. So 3 years later, you know what I mean?
But why would someone say that? There's already been Queens of Comedy. Like that happened and it was successful, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But you know what it is that like people still don't think that like black women can be different from one another. So like, and they also don't realize how many black women are doing stand-up. So like when I started the show, I was because I used to work in the club scene, and I was like, you know what? I don't see like a really top tier, well polished kind of all black women comedy show. I was like, let me do that. And people were like, nah, I don't think that would really work. You'll run out of comics. It's like the talent isn't there.
It doesn't have legs.
You know what I'm saying? But I went ahead and started it, and I've been doing it for years. And been a critics pick in Time Out New York for years. Been written up in the New York Times a couple of times. New York has written about us. Huffington Post.
And now it's a part of. Is this the first time it's been a part of the entire New York Comedy Festival?
Yes.
I see that logo on here too.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a big deal. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
So did you start first doing stand up?
No, actually, what I did was like I thought about it because like I thought about it architecturally. I'll be real with you. I'm a little mathematical, right? So I was like, you know what? What am I gonna do? I want to make something that actually really like lasts, and I want to be able to control something so that I can book it, I can support people, I can actually be in control and be able to get people on the mic. So I was like, being a producer is where the power is. So I was like, let me go ahead and focus on that. And then as I went along over the years, I started incorporating my own stand-up more and more. And hopefully next year, since I've already hit this mark, I'll be able to focus more on stand-up.
On here, our guy Judah Friedlander's on here.
Yes. Powerful black woman.
Powerful. I mean, when I think of black women, I think of Judah Friedlander.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's a dope dude. I've worked with Judah a bunch of times, actually. He and I, we had a show in July that was actually for, it was co-sponsored by Black Lives Matter. And Judah was on the show, and we actually raised money for an activist in Pasadena, Jasmine Abdullah, who was the first black person ever to be convicted of lynching in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it was it's kind of like a trumped up charge that she was charged with because a protester. They used like an arcane law to pretty much
Wait, they charged her with lynching?
Yeah, so there's
I don't get it.
There's a crazy law in California called felony lynching, and they do have versions of it in different states, right? Where basically it was like a law that was created around like I think the 30s it was created, and essentially it was created to prevent people from taking like a black person or something out of police custody, right? And it was just to appease abolitionists and people like that. It was just to appease people who were like fighting for black people's rights. They never really used the law effectively, like they never really used it. And it was kind of dormant there for a long time. And since the 80s, what they started doing was that when, like, say, for instance, you and I are protesting, and then, say, for instance, the cops get you, and I start yelling at the cops, or, God forbid, actually touch you or something like that, they can go ahead and, like, legitimately at least lock me up for a second, according to felony lynching. But they've never actually convicted anybody of it.
So you're thinking, you're like, this is confusing. Nobody actually got lynched.
That's what I was thinking, too. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they gave a law a crazy title, right? But nobody actually got hanged.
Right. It's just the minute you take somebody out of police custody, they call that a felony lynching. You know what I'm saying? So like basically no one had ever been convicted of it. But then you have an activist who's the president and founder of a Black Lives Matter chapter in Pasadena that has a lot of racist history in that particular neighborhood with the cops and everything. And she goes ahead and she's the first person to actually get convicted of this. So they set precedent. So she's the first political prisoner of the Black Lives Matter movement. So what I did was I went ahead and got together with the Black Lives Matter people in New York. We did a show with them. It wasn't just the name. We did it with them. And then we were able to raise some money for her, just a little bit, just to kind of help her with these fees, because they make you pay for your own.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, so we were able to do something and bring some more shine to it. And, she already is a very powerful, capable person on her own. So
if you take someone out of police custody
Felony lynching.
Without permission of the police,
In
you
California.
can be charged with felony lynching too, sir.
Now, also, Agunda, you were involved in a Donald Trump protest, correct?
Word, yeah, exactly, yeah. So,
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of a founding member of this community of women of color-led activists who are, on one hand, we have kind of two demands, right? So one demand is we demand that the GOP unendorse Donald Trump, right? So that's one. The second demand.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, there's been some people on GOP who have, but good luck with that.
Yeah, but
and then there's people who are flip-flopping too, going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So and then the second demand is that we want the GOP to acknowledge that its history of xenophobic, racist, and sexist policies is what created the Frankenstein that is Donald Trump. So, but
that one's going to be even harder.
Yeah, well, we're in it for the long haul.
Well, because it is the party of Abraham Lincoln.
Well, it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they still run with that. That's still their slogan.
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying that Abraham Lincoln stands for what they stand for today. I'm just saying it is the party of Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
It's kind of like Hot 97 is where hip hop lives. People will be like, is it? When's the last time y'all? Wait a minute.
We were.
Yes.
I think we're closer to the station where hip hop lives than the Republican Party is to the party of Lincoln. But yes, I understand what you're saying. So what happened in this protest? How'd it go?
It was dope. We've done a couple of them. We've done actions in front of Trump Tower a couple of times. We have another action coming up, and we'll be doing two more before before around this election time. And we did this protest in front of Trump Tower. BBC covered us. Time covered us. Huffington Post, Jezebel, a lot of press. And we were the first group to do any kind of anti-Trump actions. Women of color led, and then subsequent to that, other people started coming in, and that's why you've seen all this other stuff going on.
That's pretty cool.
During any of your protests, have you run into black women for Trump?
No.
At all?
I don't even know if that unicorn exists. I mean, I know there's
there's Latinos for Trump.
Yeah. There's Omarosa.
Omarosa, we disavow Omarosa. You can have her.
You're telling me in the racial draft, that where black women are giving up somebody, Omarosa's first.
Absolutely.
I was trying to get a trade.
Absolutely.
I was trying to get traded in.
Yeah.
I was thinking that I get black credit and you guys give up Omarosa and Stacey Dash. I think this is
and you get Rosenberg. I mean, Rosenberg is a black woman. Matter of fact, in his private life, he's a part of Black Girl Chat.
That is very true. In my private life, I am a part of a Black Girl Chat.
There you go.
True, but not everyone in the chat is black. But everyone else is a girl, she's in there too. And the theme, it's a black girl theme.
But it's open to everyone, obviously.
Not everybody. You have to have a black girl sensibility about certain things.
You have to be.
So wait, what is the black girl sensibility?
Well, for example, what got me into the club when if there was any, I have seen Janet Jackson in concert by myself.
I see.
And that got me instantly.
I see. So there's like a checklist.
It's a checklist. You have to have something on the checklist.
Right.
You haven't hit everything.
Right.
Because they'll bring up certain things. I'm like, I don't know that.
Yeah.
And I'm too white man for that. But then they'll be like, well, what about this? I'm like, yes. Have I ever bought Sophisticate's Black Hair Monthly? Yes, I have.
Have I danced at Pleasure Principle in my drawers?
Yes, I have.
All right. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Do I feel a certain way when I hear Nasty Girl by Vanity Six? Yes, I do. So those are all the things. You're in. And I got in. But I want to go a step further now.
Agunda Okeyo, Caroline's Central Comedy Central present Sisters of Comedy. Some great names on this New York Comedy Festival. So this is Sisters of Comedy.
Yeah.
And there are two white men performing.
Word. Yeah,
that is very progressive.
Yes, it is.
Those
are my two favorite white men. I put them in my pocket.
And also socially right now, there's a lot of black women who are like, you know what? Black men are dating white women and we're dating white men. Like, that's a conversation that's really happening out here.
Yeah, there's a lot of swirling going on these
days. That's the official title, right? Swirling.
There's a lot of that going on.
I'm technically a swirl baby.
You are.
Technically.
According to social media.
You're not just technically. I think you're...
You are a swirl
every
baby.
Version of
But
it.
they didn't have it when the swirl wasn't a thing.
No,
I feel like you always have to do the Cabbage Patch when you say swirl. It's like it needs a little bit of a you gotta swirl.
That's more than WAP though, by the way.
That's a little bit of a WAP. Yeah.
And the fact that I know the difference.
But you didn't get Jungle Fever jokes when you were a kid when that movie came out? Were you too old already when it came out?
No, I wasn't too old to get Jungle Fever. What year was that?
90 or something?
Nah. Yeah, and my mom had Jungle Fever.
Yeah.
But that's straight racist comedy. I mean, who's saying that? It better be somebody I know.
Right. Well, I mean, Spike made the movie. The term always did seem very odd to me.
What, Jungle Fever?
Yes.
Well, because I think he was mocking the fact that white racist people would tell a white person, "Oh, you got jungle fever," like all black people.
It was like a derogatory kind of joint. Yeah, right. It wasn't empowering.
AKA Jungle Bunny.
Ooh. Yeah, it gets even worse.
Yeah, it gets bad. So somebody was
So,
like,
but what is the logic though? You have so many different people, which I think is cool. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't necessarily have to have a steadfast rule. Is this more about? This is obviously about it being run by a black woman, giving black women opportunities, but also a certain sensibility to it that doesn't necessarily have to be delivered by black women every single time.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, number one, I love stand-up. I've been in the world of stand-up for like probably 8 years or something like that. So like, basically, when I started this show, I wanted to make a statement. I've made that statement. The show exists. It's here, right? So there are other people who I think are really dope, who are like allies. They're just funny people. They're progressive. They know what time it is. They woke. And I'm like, all right, I want you to put you on the show. So sometimes I have fellas on the show. I put, different people on the show. But I always try to make sure that there's like overabundance of black women.
Right.
Which is like a totally different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like, we'll be the ones who'll be the majority. and then you're walking into our space.
Which is still cool.
It's my favorite space.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite spaces. Love that.
But that is a very cool thing. Like even that in of itself is an interesting, different dynamic.
Or no, it's a good time. I mean, like, you know what it is too is like, by the way, all these people who are on the show, let me just break it down real quick. So we got Michelle Buteau's been on Broad City. She's OG stand-up comedian. She's a host. Then we also have Gina Yashere, who for me is probably pound for pound one of the best stand-ups in the country and perhaps in the world because she's a British black Nigerian woman. Then there's Zainab Johnson, is a Harlem girl, lives in L.A. She's actually going to be in the next season of Def Comedy that's coming back to HBO.
Def Comedy's coming back to HBO?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's going to be on that. And then we got Shazia Zamata, who's from Saturday Night Live, so we already know she's 100.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Mark Norman, who's my dude, my favorite white dude from New Orleans. He actually tours.
Oh, he's from New Orleans, white guy. Yeah, he likes black women. White guy from New Orleans. Yeah, I know.
Got a little soul.
He tours with Amy Schumer all the time. And then, of course, Judah. And Judah's a man. Judah's one of the sweetest, nicest, smartest dudes.
And Judah's a black woman also.
You know what I'm saying? He got it. He got it like that. So.
Jewish man, actually a black woman.
Is Judah Jewish?
Is he?
I don't
Judah?
know.
Friedlander?
You'd assume yes on all, right? But
I thought so.
I would assume so. But I've never looked at his penis.
I assumed.
Wait,
Rosenberg.
wait a minute.
That's where it goes?
Wait, there's a penal thing with Jewish men? Oh, circumcision. I thought it was like a size thing.
I'm not gonna let you sit here as a half Jewish man and say there's a penis thing with Jewish men. It's called the thing with Jewish men.
Well, I always thought it was a size thing. You see, because
You
I
really
get
thought so?
confused.
You thought I wanted to measure his size, like riding a roller coaster.
You do,
if your
you
penis
don't
is
do
this
size?
long, if your
Are
penis
you
is this
acting like you
long,
don't do size on this program?
I
When
mean,
the girls
do.
are sitting around looking at dick pics, you don't jump
I
in?
do. But that doesn't have anything to do with someone's whether or not they're Jewish.
Right, but I was thinking like a black guy at the time, and there's a size thing with black guys too, so I thought that's where you was going. See, I get confused. It's being biracial, man.
I know,
it's being a swirl baby.
I know, you're very...
Swirl baby, man. I don't know where you...
phrase it like that, but yes, I hear what you're saying. So this show goes down tomorrow night. Are there still tickets available for the show?
Yeah, there's still tickets available. Please do come through. Let everybody know. Let them know what time it is. Sisters of Comedy tomorrow at Caroline's on Broadway, 7 p.m. And that's going to be November 2nd at Caroline's.
Agunda Okeyo, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely a pleasure.
I don't, and while comedy always has like a social perspective, this is the first time like an active, like protester, activist I've actually sat with and heard them putting together a comedy show to bring awareness. Like
Very cool.
I don't think you hear
Super
about
tight.
that a lot. So salute to you.
Thanks, man. Thank
You
you
gotta
very
give
much.
it up.
All right,
Agunda
thank you.
in the morning.